70 years ago, a visionary group of women and men, emerging from a terrible war, turned dreams into reality. They created the Council of Europe, and at its heart, an assembly to give a unified voice to the peoples of Europe.
In 1949, the year the assembly was created, a baby girl was born in Portugal. Edith Estrela, whose name means star, was one day to become a member of PACE. Her story was to be written alongside the story of the assembly.
From its first meeting in the summer of 1949, the Assembly swiftly became the motor of the organisation and a hotbed of radical ideas for transforming society.
There were only 2 women representatives at that first meeting. It was the beginning of a long march towards equality.
The first of those radical ideas, given shape and form in a series of assembly debates, was a charter of individual rights with a court to enforce it.
There were no women at the court until 1971. Since 2004, the Assembly has insisted on at least one candidate from the underrepresented sex in each election for a judge. Today, women make up around 1/3 of the court.
From the beginning, the Assembly extended a welcome to countries ready to embrace democratic values. After 1989, the Assembly opened its arms to former Soviet countries, paving the way for the historic reconciliation of a Europe long divided.
Catherine Lalumière, the first woman Secretary-General of the Council of Europe, welcomed many of these new member states into the organisation.
Since 1949, more than 200 presidents, prime ministers or monarchs have addressed the Assembly, articulating their vision for their peoples in the light of European values.
In 70 years, 13 women presidents or prime ministers have addressed the Assembly.
Using its power of veto, PACE insisted that all new countries joining the Council must cease executions. Europe has been a death penalty-free zone since 1997.
The very first move in the Assembly to abolish the death penalty was made in 1973 by Swedish parliamentarian Astrid Börje-Green.
By inspiring many of the Council of Europe's conventions, the Assembly has been at the origin of a host of new national laws.
Millions of women are now protected by the Istanbul Convention Against Domestic Violence, one of the many pioneering texts driven forward by PACE.
PACE's honest assessments of problems and progress, in a spirit of dialogue, helps states fulfil their promises to their people.
PACE's Tarja Halonen, who went on to become President of Finland, played a key role in introducing the Assembly's monitoring process.
When national authorities are unable or unwilling to investigate specific problems, PACE has stepped in to uncover the truth.
Tineke Striegt's powerful report in 2012 on migrant deaths in the Mediterranean and the so-called Left to Die boat generated headlines across Europe.
Since 1974, Assembly teams have observed elections across the continent, working hard to make sure that every vote counts.
Finland was the first Council of Europe member state to introduce votes for women in 1906.
PACE has launched Europe-wide campaigns building on networks of parliamentarians in each country and set up a number of prizes, including the Václav Havel Prize to honour human rights defenders.
With members in most national parliaments, PACE's network on women free from violence has spearheaded legislative efforts to stamp out domestic violence.
Partnerships with parliaments in neighbouring regions have helped to spread human rights and democratic ideals far beyond Europe.
In setting up partnerships, PACE always insists on pledges to improve women's participation in political life in the countries concerned.
PACE strives for gender equality in its own ranks, insisting on at least one woman representative in every national delegation.
Proportionally, there are now more women in PACE than there are in its member parliaments. The 2 women members who came to the Assembly in 1949 have grown to more than 100.
"70 years on, the peoples of Europe continue to gather beneath a single roof, to speak truth to power, inspire change, and articulate the hopes and dreams of a continent."
Je suis née en 1949 au Portugal. L'Europe était alors une idée, un rêve. 70 ans après, je suis fière de voir le rêve européen réalisé autour du Conseil de l'Europe. Puisse cette organisation réaliser ses rêves encore très longtemps.